Hey guys, thanks for coming. Hope you leave happy. See you next time. Hi guys, by the time you see this video, you'll know what I already have done out here on these streets. I've been interviewing mayoral candidates. I think they're all Democrats. I'm not really sure. Honestly, I don't think I'm gonna vote. To be honest, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not trying to sway you to vote for this person. Is that the ones I did before was for my job. This one I just found. I was literally coming from Target to get a Starbucks drink, and I saw this man, and I was like, at first I'm gonna ignore him, and then I saw him, and I saw he was talking about. I was like, oh, so I already did interviews for other people who are in the running. Why not do an interview with this guy? So that's what I'm coming out here for, and I hope you enjoy, hear what he has to say. The link down below will be for the other people I have interviewed before I even met this guy. So just be aware of that, and I'll give you guys a link. Well, by the time this is given out to you, the link will already be in the bio. So yes, hope you enjoy. Later. Bye. Hi, what's your name?
My name is Muhammad Abdul Malik. I'm running for the mayor of New York City as Malik for mayor.
Okay.
M-A-L-I-K. As you can see, my website is malikformayor.com. It is one word.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
What is your stance on, like, what do you plan to do for New York City? What's like make a difference and change New York?
Well, let me say this to you. My number one objective as the mayor of New York City is to awaken us to our common humanity, that we recognize at the end of the day we're all people, and that together we can shape a great future for ourselves as we recognize the gifts and the talents and the giant that lives within us. For me, as the mayor, I don't promise people anything I cannot deliver. I believe in self-determination, self-reliance, and that the government's position should be provide the necessary resources and services for the people to create the future that they want to create for themselves. That's my belief.
Next thing, for the homeless population, what do you plan to do for them?
Oh, I have zero tolerance for the government's policy to leave our men and women in these streets. Right now, as I'm standing here doing these petitions,
yes,
I've had women come up to me who are old enough to be my grandmother, asking me, can you please help me, sir, find a place to lay my head tonight? Because we have a derelict leadership in the political body that has allowed all these beautiful structures to go up at the expense of making it a place where the average New Yorker can't even afford to be here. And it's by design. So we have to actually have a really big conversation and a shift in policy that no construction goes on in New York City that leads to the homelessness, especially to our elderly. It's unacceptable, and we should have zero tolerance. We should feel so guilty and ashamed when we see our veterans and our elders eating out of the garbage can and laying on the subway. This is unacceptable. It shows an absence of our own humanity. So I'm not just for the body politics, that's politics is normally engaged in. I'm for the awakening of our common humanity, because I believe this. If we don't awaken to the oneness of who we are as a people and have compassion and mercy and kindness for each other, we can have all the money in the world that we seek. At the end, we're going to be self-destructive. And that's what's happening right now. With that verdict, with Derek Chauvin, and everybody's waiting for the killing of George Floyd, that's a very explosive situation. And if we don't shift in how we value life, we're in for a surprise. Because the people have had enough of the killing. So we gotta wake up. We gotta wake up quickly now. And it needs leadership that has a vision, that recognizes our common humanity, that also insists that we have one standard. So whether I'm in uniform or out of uniform, your life and my life is sacred. That's it. You can't do it any other way. You have to recognize my humanity, regardless of my religion or your religion or the absence thereof, regardless of my color, my socioeconomic status, or the lifestyle I choose to live. You still got to recognize that I'm a human being and my life is sacred, and I'm born with certain rights that you cannot deprive me of. I'm here for the good fight, and I believe I'm winning.
So I have another question. I don't know if you know that DHS and HRA were under the same heading, right? There's one person basically controlling that division. What do you think you're going to do to make that better, or will you keep it together, or how do you do with that?
One of the things I want to tell you about the agencies in general in New York City, and I've had this experience making phone calls. A lot of people right now, they're very comfortable in their jobs. They're very comfortable with the idea that they can't be fired. and they're not doing their job. There's a lot of red tape and a lot of delays.
All right.
Right? There needs to be a revamping of the system, and we need to do an assessment on the inside, right? Who's working and who's performing and who's playing. Because if you're working for government agencies to serve the great people of New York and you don't want to do your job, you need to pack it up and go. I'm very strict on this issue because we have a budget of $94 billion, and you can't tell me with $94 billion you can't serve the basic necessities of life of the great people of New York City. It's unacceptable. Because if we want to build a big statue in this city and it costs $10 million, they pay for it. If they want to have a big parade and it costs $50 million, they pay for it.
They definitely are.
If they want to have a war and drop a bomb that costs $60 million or billion, they pay for it. They got money for what they want. The government has money. Trust me when I tell you.
That's true.
They got money.
What are you going to do about the City FEPS program, about raising the money on that? Do you know about the program?
No, explain to me, please.
City FEPS is basically when you go in a shelter, or even people who are evicted and stuff like that, they get a stipend basically. Okay. And it's through the government agencies, and it helps you pay for your rent.
Yes.
And right now, the City FEPS for like 2 families is like, I think 1,000. It's lower than it would be for like apartment, like to afford an apartment. So it's very hard for a lot of people who are homeless, who are in shelters right now, to actually get proper housing.
Yes.
Because the rent is too much, but the FEPS program is not up to the par of the rent in New York City.
Your question is magnificent. First of all, let me tell you this. I was homeless.
I was too. That's why I do this.
Let me tell you something right now. It's by design.
Okay.
You got the bloodsuckers and the real estate thieves in this city stealing the land, and politicians are getting their pockets filled nicely. So we need to end the homeless game. This is a game. This is warfare. Okay? We need to end making people homeless. We need to find out what is it behind the scene that is causing so many people to lose their residency, and what is considered a fair market rate for housing that's built by government agencies in partnership with private investors, right? It has to be a balance. I love to see people build and make money, right? But not at the expense of making New Yorkers homeless and seeing our grandmothers homeless and seeing people eat out the gutter. Not at that expense. So anybody that want to build these high-rises, we have to have a serious amount of homes and apartments set aside for people to live there in dignity. Now, the government already knows by the pennies they're giving you that you can't afford the rent. But it's a system. The problem is with the system, and there are people in the system, they benefit off you being homeless. And there are people that got contracts with the government making millions of dollars while you stay homeless. All you gotta do is follow the money, sweetie. Follow the money, right? And you'll see that many of these people with these contracts, they have strong ties with politicians. So we have to fight against this, and we have to eliminate people becoming homeless from the beginning. Why we live in we live in the greatest country, people say, of the world. The most
I don't believe that.
And we got so many people. Like, it hurts me, right? We have elected officials right now who've been in office right now in Brooklyn. And in this borough right now, when I go around the corner on Flatbush Avenue, and in the evening you see people laying down in the street.
You do.
Right? All in food and in vomit and people just laying down who need care, right?
Yeah.
If you've been an elected official in Brooklyn this long, you never saw that before? And if you saw it, what did you do about it? And if you didn't do anything about that,
you're not doing your job.
You're already elected, you ain't gonna do nothing as a mayor. You're gonna leave it like that. Because to care for the homeless, it's not the most political thing for a politician to do. It doesn't bring them any return on the investment. But to care for the people, you have to have a soul and a heart filled with compassion and love. And I believe it was under Bloomberg's administration, they allowed about 5,000 units in project public housing to be empty and kept that way. And I'm telling you right now, many of the land that projects are built upon, they want that land.
They do.
Investors that, because it's key places, right?
Yeah.
We don't unite and fight the good fight, they're gonna evict us for stupid things. Like, you smoke marijuana, your grandmother been here for 40 years, you gotta go. That's nonsense. But they do that because we're not united and we don't fight back. Now marijuana is legal, so here's my question. Now that marijuana is legal, for all the people you evicted, are you going to give them back their apartments?
They're not.
Well, guess what? We need to sue. Because all of a sudden, now that you like to smoke the same dope that you put us in jail for, it's legal. We need to have a class action lawsuit against them and get people compensation for the damages that has been caused. Because homelessness, especially for women and children, is a very dangerous situation. And we have to have zero tolerance for that. But I got to tell you this also about people in public housing. We have to teach them home ownership. It's not about living in the projects your whole life. It's about having a vision for your children and for your future. And to make those places, right? Make them decent places to live by providing a platform where there is institutions that teach people wealth creation, home ownership, how to invest, how to fix your credit score, how to save for your first deposit, and get exposure to home ownership. Because a lot of the people in public housing, they don't know about owning a home. They don't want us to have that kind of knowledge. They like us as renters, because as long as you rent, you can always be evicted. So this real estate game you see, it's by design system. And we better wake up. So to me, in this race, I already won. If I can reach the people of this city, and we can come together on the principles of our common humanity, and we want something sacred and beautiful for our children, we can put some pressure on this system. Otherwise, we're going to suffer. Okay. Because as long as we're divided and they're united, we're going to lose. So I am, in my view, the best candidate for this office. Okay. I believe I am the champion. Okay. And I believe with the blessings of the Most High and the love of the people, I'm going to win. Okay. I see. You feel me? You got your stuff together. I see that. It's from my heart. I can't have it no other way. Take it here. Right, Princess? I like your braids. Are you going to do my hair? Thank you. Can I get my hair done? What you think? You want to do my hair like that? So I thank you, sister. No problem. May you be blessed. Yes. I'll take it. I will need the information, yeah. Forward me after you do your video. That's what we usually go for. I was homeless. I was too for a year with my daughter. Okay. So that's what I talk about on my YouTube channel right now. That and other stuff.